I chaired the Senate Finance Committee for 4 years during my 15 years in the Senate. I was vice chairman for 4 more years, so I've balanced budgets in good times and in bad for this state. We still have not gotten to the point, I don't believe, in Louisiana that we're truly budgeting based upon priorities. If we budgeted based upon priorities, and we believe higher education is a top priority of the state, as I do, then we ought to recognize that out of the state general fund, we've got to say this is an important priority. We're going to fund it. We're not going to hold it out as a carrot to make the legislature have to raise fees, raise taxes, do whatever they did this session to try and make ends meet. I do view higher education as a priority, and we have to find a way to make sure that we get to the point that we're adequately funding these institutions in Louisiana. When I was chairman of the Finance Committee, we fully funded the higher education formula for the first time ever, I think, and it's been a steady decline since then. That was in the late 1990s and early 2000s when we finally got to that point, and it's been a steady decline, and it's been a precipitous decline under this administration because it clearly wasn't a priority. And I favor relinquishing the legislature the responsibility or the obligation to discuss tuition increases. I don't think that ought to be in the Constitution. We're one of the few, if only, states in America that requires legislative approval to actually raise tuition. But nonetheless, we've seen dramatic tuition increases over the course of the past several years because the legislature has allowed tuition to be raised, key to some particular pieces of legislation that dealt with performance at various campuses. I don't like the way we cut things across the board and we lift things across the board. It never has made any sense to me. That rewards inefficient programs, punishes efficient programs when you treat everybody exactly the same. If you have priorities, you fund them based upon there being a priority. And that's what we need to do to stop the bleeding in higher education, and it's bleeding. There's no question we're losing professors. Higher education every year has to wonder what in the world is going to happen to us during this legislative session. What's the governor going to do next? How are we going to survive? How can we recruit talented people to come to our higher education institutions to teach? And when times are good, it's easy to go out and get professors to come to your institution. When times are bad and they start looking elsewhere, it takes an awful long time to replenish the marketplace and get professors coming in to take the place of people who are leaving. And we've had professors leaving because they're frustrated and they don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. I think they will, though, if I'm governor, because I have always been a champion for higher education and am certainly going to be in that position.